Yo, what's up YouTube? My name is Jason. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Thanks for tuning back into the channel. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing. We talk about Harleys. You like Harleys? We talk about photography, talk about video creation, videography. I try out some weird stuff with my GoPros. So if you're into that kind of stuff, maybe this is this place for you. But it's getting colder, and check out what I got at REI. I wasn't expecting to get gloves, but this is a little brand called Hestra. They're out in Sweden, and from what I know, from what the REI employee told me, unsolicited, he told me that these are fantastic gloves. Haven't tried them out yet, but I will. And if they're any good, I'll do a review on them for you guys. They were pretty costly. What I like about them is that they are mittens, or like half mittens, half glove. Like the 3-finger, like the Spock gloves. But hopefully that keeps your hand a little bit warm just because it traps in the heat. But you still get that dexterity with the one finger. But yeah, I'll do a review on them at some point. But that was another acquisition to help me motorcycle into the winter. On today's video, we're going to talk about something that I think has been happening quite a bit, and it's been pretty blatant in my face a lot on YouTube and Instagram. So guys, we need to talk about this. What is going on? Everyone that I follow, or a lot of people that I follow, have been trading in their Iron83 for a different bike. Why? So today we're going to talk about that. Let's dive into it. The most notable people that I follow that you guys might know are like Marvel Kid. He upgraded from a 2019 Iron83 to a Lowrider S. I think he just bought another Lowrider just recently. He was a big inspiration for me when I got the Iron83. I really liked his style and just his laid-back demeanor. And I was like, cool, there's a lot of cool people that ride the Iron83. There's another motovlogger, Fastlane D. Now, he didn't have an Iron83, but he did a video on his buddy having an Iron83 that upgraded to a Lowrider S. There's another local motovlogger that I follow that's in Maryland, Meg's Motor Journey. She had an Iron83 for a hot second, and I think now she has a Lowrider S. Put Miles on It is another guy that I follow on YouTube and Instagram. I think he's in South Carolina. He had an Iron83. He tricked it out, like he got the 1250 or 1275 kit, just like I did. And then I think it was a week or two, he upgraded to a Street Bob. Blockhead is probably the most notorious motovlogger that, everyone knows that he started out on the Iron83. Huge inspiration, as I'm sure if you guys are watching, you are familiar with him. He has an Iron83. He was a big inspiration for me. But, he upgraded to God knows how many bikes he has now. But, I think he has a Lowrider S and a few other bikes. Tonight I saw on Instagram, Iron J Moto is another guy that I follow. Really cool guy out in Illinois, near Chicago. But I think he just traded in his Iron83 for possibly a Street Bob. A club-style Street Bob that I saw on one of his posts. So, yeah, it happens a lot. It comes with the territory just because the Iron83 is known to be a beginner's bike, or it's the entry-level bike into the Harley lineup, right? But it's happening so frequently I'm noticing that it happens so often that I just started thinking about why does this happen. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've thought about it myself. So I just wanted to take some time and talk about why somebody might want to upgrade from their Iron83 to a different Harley. Most likely a Harley, but yeah. So the number one thing that I hear most often, and I'm going to throw up a clip just so you guys have something a little bit more visual than my face. This is a clip of me riding by Potomac River near DC, which is a really scenic area. It's a cool little road that I found. But yeah, enjoy. So while you guys are watching, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the points. And I think I only have maybe 3. So the first one is pretty obvious, the lack of power. This is probably the one thing that I hear most often cited as the number one reason, or the primary reason as to why somebody might want to trade from an 883 to a bigger bike. So yeah, the Iron 83, it has 800 cc's. I think somewhere between like 40, 45, 50 horsepower, similar in that torque range as well. When I first got the Iron 83, I was kind of thrilled, more with the prospect of having a new bike, something exciting. This is my first Harley. But after a while, after sort of the honeymoon period and like the excitement fades, I started thinking, I could probably use a little bit more power on this bike. And so I upgraded to the 1250 kit, as you guys know. But, in my personal opinion, it's a little underpowered. I would say it's a lot underpowered. If you're just cruising around town, sure, that's going to be fine. But as you get more experience, you're going to probably want to do longer rides and most likely group rides. And that's where, the Iron 83 really kind of shows its weaknesses, if you will. And that's probably the number one reason why people upgrade to a bigger bike, just because they want a bike that can keep up with the other bikes in the group, or you're doing more long distance riding. And so when you're on the highway, the Iron 83 stock just feels really limited, and it gets to a point for me, it felt a little unsafe. I don't know about you guys, but it's not uncommon to do between like 80 to 85 on the highway here. So at 80, I felt like I was kind of maxing out my bike, which is why I kind of upgraded to the 1250 kit. But power is the number one reason I think everyone seems to be upgrading to a different bike, a bigger bike in the Harley lineup. I know there's a school of thought that says the Iron 83 is perfectly capable of anything that you throw at it. Yeah, I've heard this before. When you're comparing the Iron 83 to a bigger bike, it starts to get tempting. And yes, it can serve its purposes, but like, if you can afford it, and if you have the means, why wouldn't you want a little bit more power to make it ride more comfortable or suit you more? So the power is the number one thing that I think I've heard, and I agree. As you guys know, I upgraded to the 1250 kit for that reason. The second one, I've noticed this more and more, but it's just about comfort. So the Iron 83 is just not the most comfortable bike when you're doing long distance, or when you're putting in some serious miles on the bike. The most I've taken the bike in a single trip is probably, roughly 200 miles or so, give or take. And that's not a lot, but even within those 200 miles, I could kind of feel my back hurting. My legs start to go numb a little bit just because of the seating position. The seat starts to get a little bit uncomfortable. The riding position is a little bit uncomfortable. And these are all things that you can change, but when you start putting these things together, like with the lack of power, it makes you want to try something else out, in my opinion. The biggest thing for me is the lack of wind protection. Again, these are all things that you can independently solve on the Iron 83, right? The power and like the lack of comfort. Yeah, you can get better shocks, you can get better seats, but at that point, like, I guess that's the point of this video, is that at that point, like, why not just get a different bike instead of having to basically change out everything on the bike? I guess if you really love the Iron 83 that much, then yeah, you can keep it and like, change out all these things. But I think the best way to go is probably just keep the Iron 83 as is, very minimal, bare bones, keep it classy, and just, if you can, like, keep it as your second bike, your around town bike, something that you can kind of just have fun with, throw it around. But yeah, comfort is another one. Like, man, I was just on the highway today, and after 30-40 minutes, you just kind of get wind fatigue, and you just want to get off the highway as fast as possible. So in the next bike that I'm thinking about, wind protection is something that I seriously is going to consider. Again, this is all because as you start growing with the bike, as you start getting more experience, and you're going to want to keep taking steps to do different things like long distance, group rides, things of that nature. As you get more experience, you get exposed to different environments and different experiences, which make you rethink about the choice that you made about the kind of bike that you have. And so I think comfort is another big key area why people upgrade from the Iron 83. The third one is kind of a mixed bag. Really, the first two are like the main reasons, and I think the biggest reasons. But here's some other ones that I'll just kind of throw in there. It's not meant for long distance. So what I mean by that is, just the comfort. I just talked about it, but the tank size is pretty small, 3.3 gallons, I believe, and basically, every time I ride, I have to fill it up, and that gets really annoying. And when I do end up going on group rides, I get a little self-conscious. I'm like, am I gonna have to be that guy, especially if I'm the only one with a smaller bike? Like, do I have to be that guy that says, hey, just a reminder, like I need gas every 100 miles or so? That gets old after a while. Luckily, I ride with guys that either ride Iron 83s or when I'm in a bigger group ride, like they're pretty considerate, and so they'll map out like actual fuel stops. But that's another one that kind of gets old, whether that's in the group ride or when you're just out riding and like, I don't want to have to fill up every time I go out. So that's another small minor inconvenience, I would say. But like I said, all of these like little things start to add up, and it makes you start thinking about a different bike. The other one I think, probably people won't admit, but maybe they really search in their heart of hearts. I think the whole Iron 883 is a beginner's bike or it's a girl's bike. I think that kind of gets to them after a while. Maybe not so directly, but deep inside, like, you start thinking, man, Iron 83, when you start looking at people like all the YouTubers that I mentioned, once they start getting a little bit more serious, they get into different bikes, and that kind of plays a toll on your psyche. It makes you think like, should I be upgrading to a different bike too? Should I be upgrading? Like, does that mean I'm not a serious rider? Like if I have an Iron 83? Again, that is like a 0.001% consideration, but it is something that sometimes I get these. Yeah, sometimes I think about, and I know they're crazy, but I do have those thoughts every now and then, and I think a lot of people do too. They just don't admit it. But yeah, I think those are the biggest reasons. The last one I would say maybe just be like stylistically. Maybe the Iron 83 doesn't suit you anymore, and you want either a bagger or you identify more with like a club style, like the Lowrider S, or maybe you just want something a little more classic, like a Fat Boy or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, those things happen. But man, I've been seeing this happen quite a bit. A lot on Instagram. Everyone's been trading, like, of course, because I have an Iron 83. When I started out on Instagram, like I started following a lot of other Instagrammers that have Iron 83s. Yeah, if you guys have an Iron 83, let me know what you guys think about it. Are you planning to upgrade at some point in the near future? Do any of these reasons for upgrading resonate with you guys? If you don't have an Iron 83, what will be the reasons for you to trade in your bike or sell your bike and get a different bike, or buy it? Maybe this will be your second bike or a third bike. We'd love to hear from you guys. Just drop a comment below. But thanks for watching. Until next time, peace out.